cabinet ministers, members of diplomatic community, and representatives of international organizations, honorable members of parliament, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Right away, pleased to welcome you back after your short recess. I'm also very happy for the opportunity this opening session of the legislature afforded to me to address you parliamentary session. In the last session, before you went on recess, you passed important bills that are critical to the implementation of the revitalized peace agreement. Your success in the last session, this desire for a better country, informed your to transform South Sudan, an objective that you felt was above any partisan interest. As you resume today, because there will be no another transition in 2024. These elections will bring a new government in February 2025. Honorable members, I stated earlier, you have a lot of work to do before our country can hold transparent, fair, and credible elections at the end of the period specified in the roadmap. I therefore call upon you to redouble your efforts and cooperate more in this session to pass the necessary laws that will enable us to successfully hold elections in 2024. Right Honorable Speakers, honorable members of our two houses, ladies and gentlemen, while more work still remains, I must say that we have accomplished constitutional amendment committee and NCAC. This leaves us with 6 more bills to work on. Among the bills that have been reviewed and passed are Security Sector Reform Bill, the Permanent Constitutional Making Process Bill, and the National Elections Bill. These 3 bills are fundamental to our transformative agenda of that is secure and that will use peaceful democratic means to transfer power. In order to operationalize these bills, the constituting the National Constitutional Review Commission. As soon as this is realized, the Constitutional Development Committee and other organs related to the constitutional making process will be established and operationalized. These organs will readily avail documents that will inform the process. In preparation for elections, the high-level standing committee is also reconstituting the political parties council to allow parties to register and commence their political work in preparation for elections. Right Honorable Speakers, honorable members of our two houses, ladies of Chapter 2 on security arrangements, the directives to the two organs include necessary unified forces to join their units as the first step in their deployment. This is also a key step towards moving to phase 2 of the cantonment of the forces in the unification process. As you are all aware, during phase 1 of the cantonment, we allowed opposition forces to come to the training centers without weapons. The end result, as unjustified arms embargo imposed on us, did not permit us to procure arms. Since the arms embargo is still in place and we are facing pressing security challenges at the sub-national level, the second phase of cantonment will require those joining the training to come in with their weapons. Doing this will help us greatly in maintaining internal order, such as disarming of civil population. Unless we totally remove unauthorized arms in the hands of civilians, we will not address the issue of persistent insecurity, communal population. These weapons do not permit, will continue to take law into their own hands. Right Honorable Speakers, honorable members of our two houses, ladies and gentlemen, on Chapter 5 of the agreement, the Committee and the Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Affairs have started their work. They are preparing to hold a conference that will inform and enrich the draft bill for the establishment of the Commission of Truth, Reconciliation and Healing under Chapter 5 of the agreement during the second week of next month. The conference, to mention the few, as well as experts in post-conflict justice. Further, work is also ongoing on the drafting of the Compensation and Reparation Authority Bill. These two important bills will come to you for debate and enactment. And I encourage you as lawmakers to work on with the due diligence. My update committee for the implementation of the agreement on electoral and constitutional making for the National Election Commission to prepare the country for elections in 2024. Their help is also key in ensuring the national elections law is. Having spoken at length about the task at hand on the implementation of the revitalized peace agreement through the roadmap, I would like to speak briefly on development, economy, environment, foreign policy, and peace process with whole-out group non-signatories to South Sudan opposition group. Our goal, since we gained independence, and specifically after the senseless war we fought from 2013, our economy did not grow to our people's expectations. It is one reason why we struggle to pay our civil servants for a long time. The issue of salary arrears and civil servants has been resolved, except for the arrears owed to our diplomats who are serving in foreign missions. More importantly, the government is now working towards timely and sustainable paying of a living wage to public servants, as well as clearing the arrears owed to our diplomats posted abroad. On Chapter 3 of our budget, we deals with development. We have hardly allocated resources to it since 2013. This has put various development plans, including our own constituency, development funds, on hold. Let me read this again. On chapter 3 of our budget, which deals with development, we have hardly allocated resources to it since 2013. This has put various development plans, including your own constituency development funds, on hold. For a very long time, the CDF was created through the Act of Parliament to enable you, the MPs, to directly fund projects identified by your constituencies. It also intended to allow you, members of Parliament, to remain in touch with the citizens at grassroots through projects initiated through CDF. Given the important role played by CDF in supporting local initiatives, I am directing the Ministry of Finance and Planning Let me continue. I am directing the Ministry of Finance and Planning to work with you, the parliamentary, where practicable, to consider disbursing outstanding areas owed to the CDF. लेकिन في مشكلة في MP ثانيين بمشي بشيل القروش بتاع CDF يكون حاجة بتوم برام لسه القضايا ده بيجي قدامي وانا باخد اجراءات فوقه. Right, honorable speakers, honorable members of our two houses, ladies and gentlemen, we firmly believe that education is part of development because we know without education we cannot advance as a country. It is on this basis that I directed government ministries responsible for education to ensure that primary and secondary school be provided free of charge. To go to school. With recent news of local and international organizations pulling out of some part of the country, all the service ministries need to put in place appropriate plans to fill the gaps. By massive floods last year, in these areas, I urge our international partners to join hands with us to this esteemed House. I laid out my plan to connect our population centers with production areas with the road network. Since this priority has not changed, I'm not going to repeat myself during this session. What I said then still remains my policy priority. Right Honorable Speakers, honorable members of our two houses, and ladies and gentlemen, as I mentioned earlier, the government recognizes that our economy has not been performing well due to both continued internal and external shocks. Our internal shocks are mainly a result of our dependency on oil, whose prices often fluctuate in the international market. Externally, we have factors such as COVID-19 that grounded the world for almost 2 years. Climate change and the war in Ukraine. Today, directing the Minister Conference is gradually changing thanks to the House in order. We have now assumed our rightful place as a responsible member of our nation. Sudan's Juba Peace Agreement and our current peacekeeping mission in Eastern DRC under the East African Community. As we work to earn our rightful place in community of nations, to asking regional and international support to the successful implementation of the revitalized agreement, lifting of sanctions and arms embargo, and working closely with the African Union to amicably resolve border issues with our neighbors. In pursuing these goals, I have directed that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs be provided with the necessary tools, including funds to clear the accumulated rental and salary arrears in our diplomatic missions, as well as subscriptions to regional and international bodies. Right Honorable Speakers, honorable members of our two houses, ladies and gentlemen, South Sudan is currently experiencing the impact of climate change. The recent heat wave with temperatures of over 40 degrees and frequent droughts and floodings requires our sign that climate change is already here with us. This means all sectors of the government must work to incorporate the strategies and plans of the nationally determined contributions developed by the National Ministry of Environment and Forestry into the strategies and plans for the fiscal year 2023-2024. This will enable the country to mitigate and adapt to the impact of climate change. Besides planting trees, the generation of 3,000 megawatts of clean energy from renewable sources such as hydropower, solar, wind, geothermal, and natural gas. In order for the Minister of Environment and Forestry to deliver on its mandate, I am directing the Ministry of Finance and Planning for the conduct of feasibility studies for environmental, social impact assessment on the Nam River, and for building resilience of flood affected communities. Right Honorable Speakers, honorable members of our two houses, ladies and gentlemen, I suspended the talks because of the numerous road ambushes conducted on our highways by elements of holdout groups. The talks with the non-signatories, South Sudanese, South Sudan opposition group resumed in Rome last week from March 20th to 24th, 2023. While no noticeable progress was achieved in this round, 21 months, in 21 months, the government will pursue these talks with the non-signatories South Sudan opposition group to build on what was achieved in previous negotiations and within the confines of the original intention of the Rome Peace Initiative. Anything outside this could be considered a new initiative and counterproductive to the request for an inclusive peace in South Sudan. In closing, I would like to call upon all of us to work hard to implement the remaining provisions of the revitalized peace agreement during the period given to us by the roadmap. Of course, I said before that there will be no another transition. So we have to pay attention to this and we work together so that we implement the revitalized peace agreement. There are people who are not sure whether they will go and win confidence of their people, so they will not work hard to bring an end implementation to the peace. Let us match the recent social successes of our sport teams in how we do politics. The successes of our basketball and football teams have given us a great honor, and I thank them. I thank them from the bottom of my heart for showing a different side of our country's potential. Thank you all very much for listening, and I wish you the best of luck this parliamentary session. May God bless you all and our country, the Republic of South Sudan. Thank you very much. The session is now open.